What's going on, guys? Welcome to Gunpla News episode 43 for November 2018, and today we've got an actual full episode with all 5 parts. Once again, it's been a while since I've done an episode with all 5 parts, so just in case you forgot what those 5 parts are going to consist of is first off just some news, things related to just Gundam in general, and then we're going to talk about all the new kit announcements and figure announcements as well, things that have been just recently announced. And then we're going to talk about some updates, things that we knew that were coming out, and just some new information maybe about those. And then part 4 is going to be about some third-party and resin and bootleg kind of stuff, but actually no bootleg stuff this month technically, but again, that's getting into the technicals of that. Won't really dig too much into that. And then finally, the last part is some features. I do have some feature kits that I want to share with you guys this month as well, so stay tuned. If you are more particularly interested in one section rather than another, you can check it down in the information below the video in the description. There's time codes for that, so you can skip to a different section if you so choose. So let's just start off with the news, and there's not really a whole lot of it really. The first thing is just that their Gundam Narrative is going to be getting a manga adaptation that's starting with the first volume coming out in this month's episode of Gundam Ace, so at the end of the month, and the movie is premiering at the end of this month as well. The manga will actually be coming out a few days before that. The first part of that, it's just like Gundam Unicorn that came out as the Bande Dessinée series. This is also coming out as Gundam Narrative Bande Dessinée. So I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but it's going to be premiering in every episode or every volume of Gundam Ace for the time being until it's done. I don't know, I guess we'll see. But for those of you guys who are interested in reading Gundam manga, that's some good news for you. And then the only other really point of news that I want to talk about this month is that it's Kotobukiya month. If you didn't see my video at the beginning of November, I proclaimed that this November is Kotobukiya month, so I'm focusing a lot on a lot of Kotobukiya kits. I'm going to be doing my just normal reviews of just recent released Gundam kits as well. I'm still working on those. But also doing a lot of Kotobukiya reviews. So I started the month off by live streaming on Twitch with my build of the Kotobukiya Metal Gear Rex, and then have a couple reviews done so far, and then I have a whole bunch more on the way. So if you guys are interested in some of the different lines that Kotobukiya does, then be sure to check out those reviews. So I'll be trying to review as many different lines as possible from Kotobukiya, including Frame Arms Girls, Megami Device, of course, those are like the big ones. But then also Zoids and Muv-Luv and Ghost in the Shell, as well as Hexagear, Super Robot Wars, and my first ever Armored Core kit as well, which I'm waiting for. It's actually stuck in customs at the moment, but hopefully I'll be able to get that unstuck maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But let's move on to the announcements. Not really all that many this month, especially in terms of like just new kit announcements that are not P-Bandai or Gundam Expo or Gundam Base exclusive kits. There's really only one, and it's a pretty big one though, so we'll get to that at the very end here. But let's first just start off with some like figure related things. The first thing is the Mobile Suit Gundam Micro Wars figure series. This was actually teased before. We actually kind of saw this before I recorded last month's episode, but I didn't talk about it in last month's episode because we just didn't really have much information about it at the time. But now we know that it's coming out in March for 5,400 yen. That'd be for a box of 10 of these, so these are going to be candy toys. And they basically are just kind of fun things where it's like sets of humans, and then there's the Zaku and the Gundam, but they can actually open up so that the person is riding inside of it. So sort of like a armor suit, like a Maschinen Krieger armor suit or something like that, but it's the Gundam, so it's kind of cool. They're like SD style, of course. So if you are interested in that, I don't think I'm going to be getting that. I'm not really too interested personally, but it looks interesting. It's really unique. Next thing, we had a preview of the metal build Gundam Astria full equipment type. There's no release date or price set for this yet, but it does look really cool. The big, huge cannon that it's got in this kind of very potato image that we have at the moment does look really cool. Of course, metal build stuff is quite expensive, but that would be really nice to get in kit form at some point. Next thing is the Robot Damashi, the metal Robot Damashi Satan Gundam, I should say. And this one as well, we don't really have any information about it other than just the one image at the moment. But I know for those of you guys who are fans of like the SD series and things like that, as far as I know, the Satan Gundam is a pretty popular design. I don't really know too much about that just because it's not a series that I've really followed, but that does look pretty interesting as well. Next thing here is the Robot Damashi Ka Signature Nero Lunar Landing Type Marking Plus version. This is out in December for 10,000 yen. So the Robot Damashi Ka Signature Nero has been out before. This is a new version of that with like some new parts. Looks like basically for the backpack for the Lunar Landing Type. Then Marking Plus version, it's got some different or additional markings compared to the original release. So yeah, it looks awesome. I love the Nero, and this version especially looks really cool. I really hope that Bandai will eventually give us a kit of that. Recently, I keep saying that 2018, this year, has really been the year that Bandai has delivered a lot of kits that I didn't think we were gonna be getting ever or anytime soon anyway. So if they keep up with that trend, you know, another kit that we're going to talk about here pretty soon is one that is something that we've been hoping for a long time anyway. So I don't know, getting a kit of the Nero, like a HGUC or RE100 kit eventually. I'm still hoping for that. So anyway, the Robot Damashi version anime line, we're going to talk about a few things here from the version anime line of Robot Damashis. The first one is a Zeon weapon set. This is out in March for 3,500 yen. It's basically just a bunch of different weapons and accessories and things that you can use with the different version anime Zeon type mobile suits. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. It looks pretty cool, and for 3,500 yen, not too bad for Robot Damashi stuff. That's a little bit on the cheap side, I guess. Next up, the Robot Damashi Zaku Desert Type Caracal Core version. The Zaku Desert Type has been released previously before, but this is just a different color version of it. As far as I know, there's no different actual parts in there. I could be wrong, but this one is out in March for 7,000 yen. Does look really cool though. I love the MSV styling of that particular design. Also, the Robot Damashi Gym Sniper 2 version anime is going to be coming out in February for 6,000 yen for that. Those look pretty cool, but between that, I think I would just rather get the master grade. It's also cheaper, so that would be my choice in the matter anyway. And then one more thing here, or a couple more things anyway. One more thing is the Robot Damashi Zaku Worker version anime. And this one, we don't have a price or release date set for this yet, but it's just a very funny looking Zaku Worker. Anyway, there's that in yellow. And also we had these two teas, the Robot Damashi GPO1 and GPO2 version anime. So these, we don't have any other further information about them, but we can see that we have like these color prototypes there on display of those. So I imagine those are probably going to be coming out later in the early spring of next year. April or May, something like that. And then a couple other Robot Damashi things here. We have the Robot Damashi Gundam Alex full armor equipment, as well as the Robot Damashi Camphor. Now, I guess there was never any Camphor released before, although I feel like there probably was. So I don't know if this is a new version, or if maybe there wasn't any version of it before. Let me know if you guys know offhand. But the Alex full armor equipment set is going to be coming out in May for 8,000 yen. The Camphor comes out a month before that in April for 7,400 yen. So those, of course, come with all sorts of different accessories and things. Of course, the Alex comes with all the armor parts and like some explosion effect parts and everything for that, for like the exploding mines on the armor to break it all off and everything, if you want to recreate scenes from the anime. Alright, so moving on to Mobile Suit Gundam Ensemble. We have Part 9 coming out in March for 5,400 yen. Again, that's for a box of 10 of them if you're going to be buying it like that. Otherwise, singularly, they're about 500 yen each. This set is including the Ground Type Gundam, the High Mobility Test Type Zaku, also featured from 8th MS Team at the very beginning of that series, the Dom, and then also a set of the Hover Truck from 8th MS Team and the Gym Head, so you can put the Gym Head on the Ground Type Gundam if you want to recreate that. And then also a MS weapon set for the Ground Gundam. That includes the backpack and a few other different weapons for that. So it actually looks like a pretty nice set. The Ground Gundam and especially the High Mobility Test Type Zaku do look really quite nice. I like both of those designs, and they don't look too bad. I don't think we've ever gotten a Converge figure of that High Mobility Test Type Zaku. Really would love a Converge figure of that, though, at some point. That'd be nice. And then speaking of Converge, the last two things of figure announcements here are Converge related. So the first one is Converge Series 14 is going to be coming in February for 5,400 yen. That is again for a box of 10 of them. That is going to be including the Narrative Gundam B-Packs, which is the new version of the Narrative Gundam, and it has the kind of chopped off Jagan shields on the arm and the fin funnels on the backpack. And then also a Jesta, and the Jesta has an option part for that if you want to have just like the normal Jesta's head part, or with the narrative head part, which has like the drop down scope kind of thing on it. So that's cool that comes with that extra option part for that. Also the Gundam F90, and then a couple of high mobility type Zaku 2s, one for Johnny Ridden and one for Shin Matsunaga. So those are pretty cool. And last thing here, the P Bandai Gundam Converge Core Unicorn Gundam 03 Phoenix Narrative Version Destroy Mode. So this is a new version of the Converge Phoenix. There was a previous version, and there was an image that Bandai put out putting them side by side, and man, this new version definitely looks a lot better than the previous Converge Phoenix Gundam. So definitely looks really nice, and even the gold is nicer on this too. And of course it's the narrative version, so it has the pigtails out the back of the Armed Armor DE shields. This is out in February for 2,200 yen. 2,200 yen, yeah, pretty pricey for a single Converge figure, but it does look pretty nice, and of course it has a little bit more than your standard Converge figure with the addition of the Armed Armor shields on it. So on the fence about getting that. At the moment I haven't pre-ordered that, and I'm not really planning on getting it, but we'll see. If I'm ever in Japan in the future and I come across one for a decent price, then I'll probably pick it up. Alright, now getting into model kit related things, and first off, the big news, the big announcement that everyone's really excited about for this month, that it looks pretty awesome. We have the Gunpla LED blue unit. I know, we never expected to see it, but Bandai is going to finally be making the blue version of the LED. We don't have a price or release date set for this yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, it's not like you'd think that Bandai would just make LED units just in a bunch of different colors and just sell them normally and not make them hard to get or anything, and just make them cheap and affordable, you know, 700 yen or something. They could be cheaper than that even, but it's Bandai, so say 700 yen, okay, and then make, you know, in all the different main colors, red, green, blue, yellow, all of that. But no, I mean, they haven't done that. It's kind of, I don't really quite understand why, but we are finally getting a blue version. If you ever wanted that, now you can get it. So okay, some other things here. This is pretty interesting. It is a 1:1700 scale Kikan Taizen white base. So Kikan Taizen, I'm guessing, is kind of the name of this new line that they're doing, maybe. That's what it seems like. But anyway, it's as far as I can tell, it's a model kit of the white base in 1:1700 scale. Very small scale, but the model kit does look still relatively good size. I mean, it's probably gonna be like that or something. And that's coming out in March for 7,400 yen, so it's certainly not cheap, but it does look, you know, like I said, relatively substantial. And it comes with a base for that, and then it also comes with really tiny 1:1700 scale figures there of the Gundam, the gun cannon, and the gun tank included with that as well. So they're going to be like really tiny in there. But yeah, so that's going to be interesting. I've never really liked the design of the white base. It's a little bit too retro for my taste. But I know that a lot of people are fans of the white base, of course. If you're a fan of the original series, then that should be pretty cool. Let's go into P Bandai stuff, and there's really only a few P Bandai things out actually this month, so that should be good news for you guys. The first one, this one came as a little bit of a surprise. There's the P Bandai Master Grade Gym 2 Semi Striker. This is out in January for 4,200 yen. So this is just it looks like just the Gym 2.0 kit, a Master Grade kit with just new parts to make it into the Semi Striker. So it would just be the new armor parts on it, and then of course that new weapon. So that's pretty cool. And then they're also going to be reissuing the Ifrit Schneid as well, or the RE kit of that. To kind of go along with that. So if you missed getting the RE Schneid before, you can get that. They're doing a re-release of that. And Bandai regularly, in case any of you guys don't know, Bandai does fairly regularly re-release certain P Bandai kits. So if you ever miss a P Bandai release, there's a good chance that you can get it later when it's re-released. So I know probably most of you guys know that, but just in case any of you didn't know that, hopefully now you know. Alright, and then the next thing here is a P Bandai RE100 Yakudoga Kes Pariah use, or Kes Air use is what they're putting on the promo box. I don't really know what that's about, but yeah, this was fairly obvious. We knew this was going to be coming out, and it was pretty easy to expect that it was going to be a P Bandai kit, so not really any surprise here. This is coming out in January for 4,500 yen. Basically, it's just a recolor, and it comes with a new part for the head. It has a different headdress on it, and then the new weapon, it has the beam Gatling gun instead of the beam rifle. So that's pretty much it, though it does look really awesome. I can't wait to get that. But the other interesting thing that it does come with, it comes with another new part for the arm to make it into the sleeves type, which appears in Gundam Unicorn now. The other thing that you need is the backpack and the arm and the rifle from the Unicorn version of the Gira Doga. So that is another P Bandai kit. So you have to buy this P Bandai kit, as well as the Master Grade P Bandai unicorn version of the Gyaradoga, and cannibalize that kit, take its arm, backpack, and rifle, give it to this kit, repaint this kit, and then you can make the sleeves type. Again, why Bandai? I mean, just release it as a separate kit. People will buy it, and it just release as another P Bandai kit. I mean, I really wouldn't have had any hesitation buying just a P Bandai RE100 unicorn version of the Akudoga, and they, you know, just combine, just put parts in there, you know, from the Gyaradoga Master Grade kit. Whatever, that just makes too much sense, right? So instead, they want you to get two P Bandai, relatively expensive P Bandai kits, and then kit bash them and repaint it. Now, of course, for a lot of people, repainting is not a big deal, but for a lot of other people, they don't want to repaint, or they can't paint, or whatever. So anyway, so the next thing here is the P Bandai HGUC Leo Flight Type, out in January for 1,700 yen. This one, as well as was relatively expected. I honestly expected this to maybe just be released as a part set or something, or just to be released with it being also in green. As far as I can remember, I only remember ever seeing the Leo Flight Type in green in the series, but apparently there was a certain area of the Earth where they used blue types. It was like a certain infantry or something. I can't think of the right word that I want to say, but there was a certain group of Leos that were in this other different color. It's kind of like purplish blue. It looks very similar to the color of the space type, but it's a little bit different, a little bit more blue. So anyway, I just expected that this would be released in green, but it's going to be released in this different color or whatever. Anyway, it does look really cool. It comes with the flight type backpack, of course, and then also comes with this new bazooka, as well as the Delbur gun, which wasn't released before, as well as the shoulder cannons. So it's basically a lot of really great stuff if you're interested in the Leo. And the last P Bandai thing here is the HGUC Narrative Gundam B packs. So we saw this coming out in the Converge line. It's also coming out in the HGUC line, but as a P Bandai release. At the moment, we don't have anything in terms of a release date or price set for that. I would say probably just a few months down the line. And yeah, again, it's just got like it looks like kind of like test type funnels on the back, basically, and then also the chopped off Jagan shields on the arms. And so it's kind of interesting. It's definitely a lot less cumbersome than the Apex kit, which is coming out this month. The next thing here, we've got some Gundam-based Tokyo exclusive clear color kits that have been announced. There's the HGUC Shinanju Stein narrative version coming out in clear color at the end of this month for 2,900 yen. That's going to be sold at the theater, at the screenings of the narrative release, and then also at Gundam-based Tokyo. And there's also going to be the HGUC Biolarnt in clear color. That's out at the end of this month as well for 2,600 yen. That actually doesn't look too bad. I'm usually not a big fan of clear color kits, but that one doesn't look awful. And there's also the real grade 00 Quanta Full Saber clear color version coming out next month in December for 3,500 yen. And then the HGUC Gabaldi Beta in clear color as well, coming out next month for 1,600 yen. So basically, the clear color kits, Bandai usually charges the same amount as the regular kit because it's just switching the color of the plastic. It doesn't really cost them anything extra, so that's nice about those. But of course, that's only if you can get them on site in Japan. Basically, if you're going to be buying them out of the country, of course, you're going to be paying extra fees for that. And so finally, we get to our one just regular standard release that has been announced for this month, and that is, of course, the Master Grade Dynames. So this is, of course, the kit that most people are very excited about because Bandai just hasn't made any Master Grade kits from Gundam 00 from like the main lead Gundams, except for, you know, the main lead Gundam, the 00 Gundam or the Exia or the Quanta or whatever. So we've got the Dynames coming, and then it's fair to assume that we'll probably be getting the Curios and the Virtue out after that. Anything further, getting into like the Season 2 variations, I kind of doubt that, but I don't know. We'll see. They could go into releasing the other lead units from Season 2 as well. That would be nice. It would be cool. Why not? They would be pretty good Master Grades, I'm sure. The Dynames, from what we can tell from just this single prototype that we've got on display there, it does look really quite nice, nicely detailed. I've never been like super in love with the Dynames. I know a lot of people are. But it does look like it's going to be a pretty nice master grade for sure. I'm looking forward to building it. Okay, so now let's talk about some updates on some things. So I won't go through everything. I'll just talk about some of the stuff that we got some new information on, basically, or just anything that I think is maybe of particular interest for us here. Just a quick reminder of a couple of metal build things that are coming out in January. We have the metal build gun barrel striker pack coming out for 9,200 yen. That'll be for the metal build Strike Gundam, of course. And then also the metal build crossbone Gundam X1 coming out for 22,000 yen. That also, it looks really, really cool. I like the designing that they've done for the metal build version of that, so that'll be out in January as well. In Metal Robot Damashi line, we've got the Ka Signature Zeta Plus C1 Sigmund Shade version out in February for 15,000 yen. We've got the Full Armor Knight Gundam Real Type version out in December for 14,000 yen. And then the Ka Signature S Gundam Booster Type Unit Option Parts Set out in January for 5,500 yen. That'd be just the booster, the S Gundam Booster Parts Set, not the full Gundam and the booster. So you'd have to have the Gundam already to use this booster set with that. So just to be clear about that. And then just regular Robot Damashi stuff here. We've got the Unicorn Gundam 03 Phoenix Narrative version out in December for 8,500 yen. The Xiong version anime out in December as well for 12,000 yen. The RX-78 Gundam plus G-Fighter Real Type Color version anime out in January for 13,500 yen. And the Zaku II High Mobility Type Black Tri-Stars anime version out in January as well for 6,000 yen. So there we go, that's that. And then one last Robot Damashi thing here is the Nightingale, of course, coming out in February for 22,000 yen. This does look really, really nice, I have to say. This definitely looks like probably the best version of the Nightingale that I've seen in either kit form or other different figure or something, even including like Converge or anything like that. This version of the Nightingale definitely looks probably like the best thing that I've seen of that. And I'm not really like super particularly in love with the Nightingale really, but this version does look really, really nice. And then just a quick reminder, we've got the Exceed model Gundam Head Volume 1 out in January for 500 yen each, including the RX-78 Gundam, the Gundam G3, and the Full Armor Gundam, so can't wait to get those. Converge Series 13 is out in December. That is including the Gundam Crossbone X1, the Crossbone X2 Kai, the Tallgeese 3, the Shinanju Stein narrative version, the Full Armor Gundam, and the Dom. And then we've also got Converge EX25, the Crossbone Gundam Full Cloth. That'd be the Crossbone Gundam X1, I should say. Full cloth out in January for 2,700 yen. And then a couple of Converge Core things here coming out as P Bandai exclusives. The Crossbone Gundam X3 out in January as well for 2,200 yen. And then the Converge Core Neo Xiong full set metallic coating version out in January as well for 7,000 yen for a very shiny Converge Neo Xiong. Also out next month in November is Mobile Suit Gundam G-Frame Volume 4. That is going to include the narrative Gundam with the B equipment, the Banshee in destroy mode, and Char's Gelgoog for that. Kind of interesting, a couple things here. The Gundam Converge EX25 Crossbone full cloth that I mentioned a minute ago is coming out in January, and we don't know what the next Converge EX figure is going to be, EX26, so I'm imagining that is probably going to be announced relatively soon, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I love the EX line. I love Converge stuff in general, but the EX line too is also, it's always exciting to see what comes out in that. So I'm looking forward to that hopefully being announced relatively soon. And then G-Frame as well. G-Frame Volume 4 is out next month, so I imagine we'll probably be getting a announcement for Volume 5 relatively soon as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming out in that line as well in the near future. So next thing here, a couple of P Bandai G-Frame things. There's the P Bandai G-Frame S and XS Gundam. It's just one Gundam with the parts to make either the S or the XS Gundam. That's out in January for 4,500 yen. And then also the P Bandai G-Frame Unicorn Gundam 03 Phoenix Destroy Mode narrative version out in January for 3,500 yen as well for that. Okay, so last thing here in terms of figure updates is just the P Bandai Mobile Suit Ensemble EX09 Gundam TR6 Inlay coming out in January for 15,000 yen for that. It looks awesome though, I will say, but it's very, 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 very expensive. But I would enjoy that. I'd like to have that, but there's just no way I'm going to spend that kind of money on that figure. Okay, and then to recap the kits that we've got on the way, I'm just going to blaze through these P Bandai kits because I've talked about all of them before. Just a couple things I will mention about them, but Anyway, the P Bandai High Res Wing Gundam EW is out in February for 13,500 yen. That'd just be the variation of the Wing Zero that we had out previously in the High Res line. The P Bandai Perfect Grade Gundam Exia Clear Parts Set is out next month in December for 3,500 yen. Obviously, just clear parts for the armor of the PG Exia. P Bandai Master Grade Sazabi Ver.20 Special Coating Version, very, very shiny, also coming out next month in December for 18,000 yen. Very expensive, thanks to that coating on that. The P Bandai Master Grade HGUC Crash is out in January for 5,800 yen. I'm really not into this sort of like 5-star stories version of the HGUC, but it's interesting anyway. The color looks cool. The HGUC looks good in black, but I'm just not into the design features of that. The P Bandai Master Grade V2 Assault Buster Gundam is out in December for 7,000 yen. That would be for the full set of the Gundam and all the Assault Buster parts for that. But just in case you already have the Gundam and you don't want to buy a second one, you can buy just the equipment set of just the Assault Buster parts for that. And that is going to be coming out for just 2,700 yen. So that's nice. If you already have the Gundam, you don't have to buy a whole new one for that. Save some money. The thing is, though, that if you buy just the equipment set, then the new parts for that, the assault parts, are just in molded gold. It's in that kind of ugly molded gold. However, if you buy the full set for 7,000 yen, then all of that is in plated gold. It's plated like that dull gold, kind of like with the Master Grade 2.0 HGUC. So if you prefer having that plated gold, then you might want to go ahead and get the full set. That's what it looks like anyway from the promo images of what I can tell so far for that anyway. So that is definitely a good incentive to buy the full set, even if you already have the original Gundam. One thing that I was talking to a friend about this is that you could do is just, even if you already have the Master Grade V2 Gundam, just get the full set and then just separate the Assault Buster parts. So give the Assault parts to one kit and the Buster parts to a different kit, instead of making the full Assault Buster V2. Just have the two separate forms. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, excuse me. Moving on. So P Bandai Master Grade GNX3 ESF type out in December for 4,300 yen. Just a variation of the Master Grade Jinx. P Bandai RG Wing Gundam Zero EW Clear Color version is going to be coming out in January for 2,700 yen. That would be something that was a Gundam Base Tokyo exclusive, I believe, and now it's being released as a P Bandai kit as well. P Bandai RG Tallgeese 2 is out in December for 2,700 yen. Still no word on the Tallgeese 3. Probably going to be P Bandai as well, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure it's coming eventually, one way or the other. And then the P Bandai HG GNX 4 Commander type out in December for 2,200 yen. Just another variation of the HG Jinx. And then the P Bandai HGUC Gaz L and Gaz R set coming out in January for 3,500 yen. That would be a set of both of them molded in that kind of ugly molded silver color. But it is pretty true to the color they should be, I guess. And then all that decorative stickers around there is just going to be simply that, stickers, and not water slides. So that's pretty unfortunate. So that's fine, I guess, if you don't really care too much about that. I mean, it looks passable, but it'd be much better if they would actually give some water slides for that. But Bandai very rarely, or like hardly ever, gives water slide decals included with the HG kits, even P Bandai HG kits. So that's unfortunately the case. There's the P Bandai HGUC Jagan D-Type Escort Team Custom out in January for 1,800 yen. Really quite like that, but there's just already so many versions of the HGUC Jagan. I kind of wish that they would just get started on making variations of the Master Grade so we can start buying those now instead. And the last P Bandai thing here is the HG The Origin GM Cannon out next month in December for 1,800 yen. That'd be the last of the 4 different GM HG The Origin GM variants that we've got out. I doubt they're going to make any more, and at the moment it's also worth noting that this is the last HG The Origin kit that we have on the books at the moment. So is it the end of the line? I don't know. I was just thinking about it the other day, like what's going on with the HG The Origin line? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we have some more stuff coming in the future, because the HG The Origin line is pretty amazing. But if it is the end of it, then I guess we had a good run. Now just getting into the regular release stuff. The Perfect Grade 00 Gundam 7 Swords G is out next month for 23,000 yen. I'm sure there's some people excited about this, but it feels like generally not a whole lot of people are really super excited about that. The 00 Gundam PG, as far as what I've heard, is not really that fun of a perfect grade kit, to be honest. And that's basically what I would expect just from what I've seen of the kit. I haven't built it, but it just doesn't really look like that enjoyable of a kit to build or to have. I think the master grade looks a lot better, and it of course would be much cheaper as well. So anyway, the LED gimmick in the new giant massive sword part does look pretty cool. I will admit that. Okay, and then there's the master grade Shinanju Stein narrative version coming out in January for 7,500 yen. Now this I want to talk about because I've seen this being widely reported to be a master grade Ver.20, but I haven't seen any official information saying that it's a Ver.20. I saw on like blogs and things like that, blogs like, for example, Gundam Kits Collection, labeling it as the master grade Shinanju Stein narrative version Ver.20. But looking at the actual official images from Bandai, it doesn't say that it's a Ver.20 in the title of it, and it would if it is going to be a Ver.20. So I'm guessing it's not going to be, and they're going to do the same thing like they do with the Shinanju, and the same thing like they do with the Unicorn version, that later, when they release a new version of that, they just make it just a regular master grade and not a Ver.20. Now, that doesn't really change anything really too much in terms of the kit, but what it does mean is that it's not going to include water slides, unfortunately. So while the Shinanju Stein Ver.20 does come with a lot of water slides, this new version, I'm assuming, will not come with any at all. So that kind of sucks, but I do kind of understand why they don't want to have two Ver.20s that are so similar. So I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case, and I just wanted to clear that up because I've been seeing basically pretty much everyone else saying that it's going to be a Ver.20, but I don't really think that it is. Okay, moving on into the RE line, we have the RE Gun EZ coming out next month in December. I'm really quite looking forward to that one as well for 3,500 yen. It does look really quite nice. It's going to be just a smaller, simpler RE kit, and then hopefully the next one will be something big and exciting again as well. I'm enjoying the RE line though, so I always like to see what's new coming out on that line. The real grade full armor Unicorn Gundam is coming out next month as well for 5,500 yen, and actually really quite excited for this one as well, just for the fact that this looks like by far the most functional full armor Unicorn Gundam. So if you're a big fan of the full armor Unicorn Gundam, the master grade, the perfect grade are just bricks. You can't really do anything with them. The high grade is not bad, but it's not super stable. But if you've ever built the real grade Unicorn Gundam, you know it's very stable and it's fully transforming. And so this will actually be a full armor Unicorn Gundam that you can actually do a lot of posing with, it seems like. So that's always fun and exciting if you like to do a lot of different posing. If you don't, I mean, if you're totally okay with it being just a brick and just standing there looking awesome, then the master grade I think looks fantastic. But if you wanted to actually do more with it, then this should be a pretty exciting release for you. So it's coming out with the green Psycho Frame. I imagine we'll see some other different variant come out, probably as a P Bandai exclusive or something with the red Psycho Frame or something like that. Into the HGUC line, we have the DJ out next month in December for 1,800 yen. Looks pretty nice. I'm looking forward to that one as well, despite not really being a big fan of the DJ. It does look like it's going to be a pretty nice kit. Also worth noting that it has the part in there for the eyes that includes like the single camera eye, like the mono eye, but then it also has like the Gundam eyes like on the side of it as well, so it looks like you can kind of choose, or you can make it with the Gundam eyes in there. It looks like if you just drop some paint in there or something maybe. So that's pretty interesting. Also the HGUC R Jarja out in January for 1,800 yen. Also a design that I actually quite like as well, and it's a design that we all knew was going to be coming eventually, and finally it's coming out, so looking forward to that one in January as well. And then the HGUC Gustav Karl out in February for 2,400 yen. Another one that I'm looking forward to. That has been getting a lot of hype for that. Moving on to Build Divers. The HG Build Divers Mobile Doll Sarah is coming out next month for 2,400 yen. At first, I didn't think it was actually looking too bad until we saw the new pictures of it, where we can see what the eyes look like on the human form face, and ooh, they look pretty terrible. Man, the eyes really just killed any hype that I had for this kit. Of course, you could use the robot face instead, which is kind of fine, but I think I was kind of looking forward to this kit, and now I'm thinking I'm just gonna pass on it, just because number one, it's in the HG line instead of the Figurized line, and based on Bandai's past HG releases, not that great. And then just with the new revelations of seeing what the face actually looks like for this, I'm just thinking like it's not really gonna be worth it. And then this other one though does look pretty nice. I'm actually quite looking forward to this one. The HG Build Divers Gundam Shining Break out next month for 1,800 yen. Definitely gonna need some repainting. Not a big fan of the color scheme on that, but it's pretty interesting design. I think kind of mixing in a little bit of G Gundam styling into that, but it basically looks like something from 00 for the most part, or possibly Age, I guess. But there's also the HG Build Divers GBN Base Gundam coming out in January for 1,600. This is 1,600 yen. Sorry, this is another one that I'm like really for a couple reasons. First off, the first main reason is just the sculpt of the head looks awful. I don't know what they were going for. They're trying to make it like as edgy as possible, and it's just too edgy. The head just looks too silly, I think. Anyway, and then of course, then the other thing is just the fact that it's molded in that really ugly, nasty, like pearl white gloss injected plastic, and it just looks bad. But then on the other hand, again, we have the HG Build Divers Gundam Zerachiel out in February for 2,700 yen, so a little bit more expensive for this one. It's just based off of the HG Harut Gundam. This one does look pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it looks like a really interesting design. Haven't really seen too much updated about that, but I'm looking forward to that release. And the next thing here is the HG Build Divers Gundam H2 Magnum SV version out next month in December for 2,200 yen. It's basically just the same HG H2 Magnum, molded in different colors, and it has the SV parts to be new parts for the back of the legs to extend those, and then new parts for weapons on the backpack. It does look quite nice. I enjoyed that kit, the original version of that kit. So the new weapon and the new parts for that do look pretty cool, I think. There's also going to be the HG Build Custom Heavy Weapons set and SV Custom set. This is basically the Heavy Weapons custom parts from the new version of the 00 Sky, and then the new weapons and accessory parts from the new version of the H2 Magnum SV, and then like a kind of a new center part to kind of hold all of that stuff together to make this one big thing here. So this is coming out in January for 1,200 yen. Pretty expensive. 1,200 yen. That's like the price of just a normal smaller size or kind of basic high grade kit. But it does look like a pretty substantial set. There's a good amount of plastic in there for this set, so I think that'll be a pretty useful one as well. It looks like that'll actually have a lot of parts in there that will really be quite useful for doing different customs and kit bashes and things. And then in the SD Build Divers line, we have the RX Zero Maru Crime Crystal version coming out in January for 1,800 yen. I really don't like the RX Zero Maru at all, so not really too interested in that. But it's got that green kind of Psycho Shard effect going on with that. Still haven't seen a price or release date announced for this one yet, but there is going to be a HG Karagai Aya Fujisawa coming out in the near future, unless that's been canceled, but I kind of doubt it. I imagine that's just coming out in January or February or something. And then a couple of Figurized things here. Figurized Standard IMA is coming out in March for 2,400 yen. It does look pretty nice. It has, of course, different parts for the face if you want to have the mask, and it has a few different weapons, parts, kind of things along with that. So if it's anything like the Diver Nami, then it should be a pretty nice kit. There's also the Figurized Mechanics Haro out next month in December for 1,800 yen. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun, very nicely detailed, and bigger than the Haropla, of course. It can take an LED unit as well. That'd be the 2 LED unit thing that's like 20 bucks. So basically the same price as the kit itself to include the LEDs in there. And then there's the Haropla Mobile Haro coming out in January for 1,200 yen. I really am not interested in this at all. I think it looks pretty ugly, but it's unique, it's interesting, but I just can't get into the look of that at all. And the last thing here is just the SD Cross Silhouette Freedom Gundam is out in February. I haven't seen a released price for this yet, but just the SD Cross Silhouette Freedom Gundam. I kind of feel like I could be totally wrong about this, but it just kind of seems, the feeling that I'm getting about this is that the Freedom Gundam is not that popular anymore. Of course, it very much was for a long time, and a lot of people loved it, but it seems like there's too much has come out between that, so that I think, basically the big things would be 00, Build Fighters, and Iron Blooded Orphans, and there's so many things, so many designs that people love from 00, Build Divers, and Iron Blooded Orphans be like the 3 big series that have come out kind of in between Seed and now that I can think of offhand anyway. And so I think that just the love for the Freedom Gundam, it seems like it's fading a little bit, and it's just a little bit tired and just not really something that gets people really all that excited about anymore. I know, sure, there's still a lot of you guys who still love the Freedom Gundam, and it's a design that you're just gonna get the kit no matter how it comes out in any way, shape, or form. You're always gonna love getting a new kit of the Freedom. But just in general, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys also think that I could be onto something there? But it feels like the Freedom Gundam is just not as popular probably as it once was. And of course that's going to happen over time. Popularity of certain kits certain designs is going to fade. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Let's move on to the third party and resin stuff, because there's some pretty cool stuff to talk about this month. Okay, so Mechanicore, we've got some updates and some very interesting new things to talk about here. So of course their Pyro Tyrannus kit, which is basically just a version of the GPO2. I don't even remember what the initial release date was set for that was, but it should be around this time. But they're not done with it yet, of course, so it's being delayed. Hopefully it'll be out sometime in the next few months, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, but we did get some new images of that, basically showing like a test prototype that they're working on with the LEDs, just testing out the LEDs, it looks like, for that. So you can see that there, and it's coming along, so the waiting continues for the Pyro Tyrannus. But in the meantime, they're also releasing a new version of the Tiefstürmer, their version of the Deep Striker. But this one actually has changed quite a bit, it looks like. This is in a smaller scale, it's in 1:120 scale. Their previous release, I believe, was labeled as 1/100 scale, but I think it was probably closer to 1/72 scale. It's quite big, but this one is definitely a little bit smaller. This one is probably in 120, in the Mechanicore's 120 scale is probably close to Bandai's 1/100 scale, which would be the Master Grade Deep Striker. So it's probably going to be a similar size to that. So aside from being scaled down, they changed up their design quite a bit from the original version. So they changed up, instead of the disc ray dome, it has like a missile launcher on that instead, and instead of like the radar, like the radar arm, they changed up the design of that quite a bit as well. And a lot of parts on that, they changed the design a lot. They made the new parts for the chest, and they made the head different, and the eye field generators on the front of that are different. They're much shorter. The whole design in general seems much more compact. So I think that'll probably be good, so you have less weight issues with like the big long parts sticking off all over the place and kind of like being weighed down. So I actually really like this a lot, and despite of course already having a Tiefstürmer, which of course I have not built yet, I'm really interested in getting this one as well. Now, a couple things about the release of this. They are opening up the pre-orders for this, I think, right around this time, so you should be able to get your pre-order in for it right now if you want to, and I would highly recommend you do so right away. They're releasing a couple different premium versions. There's going to be a premium red version and a premium blue version. Basically the difference is that they're just in blue or red. A couple things that you get with the premium version is just of course going to be special water slides. You're getting special camo water slide decals included with that, like they did with the original version of the Tiefstürmer. You're also getting the parts to make the disc radome if you want. So if you do prefer the original disc radome for that instead of the new missile launcher for that, you will get the parts to make that, apparently. And then also a different base for that. The different base for the premium version is much more interesting, I think, and a lot more cool looking than the just standard base, which is the same base, again, with the original kit, but scaled down, it would appear. So this is all very fresh news. I haven't taken the time to actually look at like side by side, comparing different images of like the new shoulder armor compared to the original shoulder armor, and like the new leg booster unit compared to the old leg booster unit. But from what I can tell, just looking through the pictures that have just been released today, basically, it looks like they have changed the design quite a bit. So it looks really cool. I'm actually quite interested in that. Next thing I want to talk about here is a photo etch detail up set for the real grade Sazabi. This is out in a couple different, they're doing like a first batch and second batch, I think, and one is at the end of November and one is at the next month in December. For like the first round of these, that is going to be it's about $26 for this. And as you can see, it's just a bunch of photo etch detail parts for the real grade Sazabi. Pretty self-explanatory. A whole bunch of them, really. And then I think it's only in the first batch, if you order in just the very first batch of the pre-order, that you get the water slides included with that as well. I think the later versions will not include the water slides for that, from what I've seen online. So looks pretty interesting though if you're into that kind of thing, if you wanted to have a more detailed version of the real grade Sazabi. And then this one is also pretty interesting. It is the SD Ava 00, and apparently it's going to be either in the blue or the yellow version of that, or maybe it's going to include all the armor parts. It'll include like 2 sets of the armor in blue and yellow, and you can choose, or they'll have 2 different kits available. I'm not sure, it's not exactly decided yet as far as I know. But of course, the SD Ava kit was originally released by Sun Toys, but it would appear that Sun Toys has sold off the design to Motor King, and this new kit is being produced by Motor King, I think, from what I've seen online. Again, I'm not totally sure about that. But apparently the release date set for this, for the time being, is late December, so not really too long until this is going to be coming out. And it does look really cool. I built the Sun Toys Ava, and it's a pretty nice kit for sure. It's very similar, of course, to the Next Edge line from Bandai, but of course it's a little bit larger and you actually build it yourself rather than it being just a figure. And this thing comes with a lot of really fantastic accessories and weapons for that. It has like the big sniper rifle and like the big like mounted sniper rifle and the big shield and a bunch of other different weapons and accessories for that, so very cool. And the last thing here is a resin dress-up kit from Artisan Club for the Master Grade Astray Mirage frame. This is going to be coming out at the end of this month for around $63 for that. So this you will need the Master Grade Red frame or the Master Grade Blue frame kit as the base kit, and then this dress-up kit turns it into the Mirage frame. It's very over-the-top and goofy for my personal taste, but if you ever wanted a Master Grade Mirage frame, highly doubt that Bandai's ever going to make one. They have the 1/100 scale kit, and you could like kind of kit bash that to make it a Master Grade if you wanted maybe, but. Or you can get this resin dress-up kit, which does look pretty nicely detailed and everything, so that's coming out in the near future as well. So to wrap up this month's episode, let's talk about a few featured builds here. The first thing I want to show you guys is actually a couple builds from Naoki, our boy Naoki. And you may be thinking this featured section of Gunpla News should be used more for builders who are maybe not as well known to, just try to let more people know about some really amazing builders, and generally that would be the case. And obviously Naoki is very well known. I don't really need to let anyone know about who he is or anything, but just really cool builds. I want to just take some time to appreciate them. I pretty much really enjoy basically everything that he makes. He's a fantastic modeler, but these are a couple here. The GM Turbulance, first off, this is sort of like a variation of his Stormbringer. It looks really cool. Of course, it's in color scheme very reminiscent of the Full Armor Gundam with that dark green and then orange pattern on that. And you have this really cool composite image here that he's got with the polypod ball as well with that, and that just looks really, really cool. I really would love to get an actual kit of this. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is just something that he just produced just for, of course, just a magazine or whatever. But it does look really awesome. And then another Naoki build that I want to take a look at is this Master Grade F91 custom build here, because it's just so nice. And I've said this before talking about the recent 2.0 version of the F91. I've never really been a big fan of the F91 Gundam, but man, especially this build from Naoki is really, really making me love it, because it just looks so nice. And just the little details and things that he's done with that. And also I know he generally does a lot of custom design decals, and so it's not really all that different, but you can tell that the decals he's made for that are a little bit different. So everything looks really, really nice for that, and just the way he just reshaped the shoulders a little bit, and it's just really super cool. If you guys are working on like if you're working on the F91 2.0 kit and you want to do a little bit of customization or something like that, definitely check this out for some inspiration or stealing some ideas. Because I am definitely going to take a look at this whenever I get to working on mine, because there's a lot of really great inspiration here for making a really, really nice looking 2.0 Master Grade F91. So very, very cool build. I love that a lot. This next one here is an HGGNX 10th anniversary commemoration build, custom build by White Use. And this is really, really cool. I like this a lot. It's a just customized HGGNX, but it's so very interestingly detailed. He's used different parts from different kits as well. He's got the shield and thruster parts from the HGGP03. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking at the moment. And then also just kit bashing parts in from other kits in there as well. And if you get a chance, like with all of these, I've got links to the images down below in the description, so check it out. He's got a bunch more images there that you can see, even a couple like work in progress images there, so you can like compare that, and it's really, really cool. This is definitely one of those builds that is just really, really well done customization of that, so that it's still like, you can still see that it's a GNX, but it's so different and so unique. It almost looks like it could be from a different series altogether, from like, I don't know, I can't think of one offhand, but some other anime with mechs. So I mean, it looks like it could be from a different series, and that's really cool. So I like this, and of course the colors are fantastic. They're very muted, kind of slightly purplish gray, and then that really nice orange color on that. It just looks really, really good. The colors are fantastic. Next one here is an HGUC Gundam Ground Type diorama build by tsuyosith. Sorry, I can't say that. Tsuyosith. This is a really cool diorama. I like it just because of the interesting composition of the diorama. It's not like a Gundam diorama on just this flat, square, boring looking base. It's a really interesting base, how he's got it like rested amongst some rubble kind of, or something like that. Just this kind of broken down structure or whatever, where the Gundam's just kind of sat in there. And it's all weathered, and he's done some customization on that as well. You can see there's bits and things that he's added to the design to customize that, and just building it all into this diorama. Looks really, really nice, and just the little details and things like that, if you just take a look at the photos and you look at them closely, at just the things that he's done in terms of customizing this, it's really, really nicely done, and it's quite interesting. So definitely take a look at that one, I would say. And the last one here is a Master Grade Sazabi II custom build by Kobaruto. And this one is basically a kit bash of the Master Grade Sazabi and the RE100 Nightingale. And it came out looking pretty cool. I really like what he's done in terms of choosing which parts to keep from different kits. How he's got like basically the shoulder and like the shoulder and the arms from the Sazabi and the head of the Sazabi, but he's still kept like the really long extended part from the Nightingale on the top of the head, and of course the main body of the head. And still kept the original shoulder armor of the Nightingale as well, but moved it to the back for that instead. So really cool. And of course there's a lot of customization done here in terms of just scratch building and panel lining, just doing different types of scribing and things on this. So there's a lot of work put into this, as you can tell, and it looks really, really fantastic. I think it came out looking really good. It looks like it's something that could be actually something from canon, some sort of like side story or alternative version of the Sazabi or something like that. So really, really cool. And of course it's technically also done really well as well. It's super clean, all the details and everything on it looks so nice on that. So very, very cool. And that is going to be it for this month's episode of Gunpla News. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out, listening to that. Hopefully there was some interesting stuff for you guys to hear. And as always, if I missed anything, or if you guys want to let me know any other further information or have any questions or anything, just leave that down there in the comment section below. Nothing really else at the moment to let you guys know about. Just got a bunch of stuff still in my review stack, so I've got plenty of stuff coming on the way. And I think another contest brewing. Another building contest brewing, so be on the lookout for that. Probably around beginning of December, I'll have an announcement about that. So in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching or listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.